Here's how to set up a Bridgit bridge in 4 easy steps. It only takes a few minutes, and once it's set up, it runs automatically, so you can set and forget, and the data will automatically pull and give it to you in the format that you need. So to begin with, in this demo, we're going to pull some data from MuchLoved. So as you can see, we have a library of integrations here. I'm going to go ahead and connect MuchLoved, input my credentials, which you can get from MuchLoved. And then once that's in place, we're going to be able to choose MuchLoved as the source. Step 2 is choosing a destination. So in this example, we're just going to build a spreadsheet that is compatible with my CRM. So if I choose the spreadsheet as the destination, step 3 is all about configuring how the data flows from MuchLoved, my source, to the destination, which is our CRM-friendly spreadsheet. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is select an object from MuchLoved. So this is the donor details report from MuchLoved. And what you see here is all of the fields that are available inside this object from MuchLoved. That's what we have to work with to build our spreadsheet. Now, in terms of the spreadsheet, I have an idea in mind already when I get to this step of what the spreadsheet needs to look like in terms of the columns that it has and the data that it contains in order to be compatible with my CRM so that I can just upload it immediately into the CRM with no manual admin or changes. So to get started, we're going to begin by adding some fields. Now, before I even do that, what I want to do is filter out. I only want to include data in this example that has opt-ins for GDPR. So I'm going to choose a rule. I'm going to filter for, and then out of all the fields, I know there's a field called GDPR opt-in to email, and I'm going to put yes. And all that's doing is it's saying only bring rows of data through where they've opted into this particular option. Now, next up, I'm going to build a bunch of fields, and I'll speed the video up at this point, but it can give you a sense of the sort of things you can do. So I'm going to have, firstly, donation date, then I'm going to take amount, then I'm going to have donation fee, then I'm going to have donation net, and then donation gift aid amount. If I can't see it easily, I'm going to search here, which is that, perfect. And as you can see, the columns are being built up here. So this is what my spreadsheet will look like across the top row. Next, I'm going to add donation received, and I know from experience that donation received is really the net amount. So I'm going to change this to net donation, net donation, and I'm going to change donation net amount here to donation less fees, because that's what that is, and I know that from the data structure. Next, I want to get the donation ID, which is here. Now we want the donor information, which is what we're really interested in this type of report. So if I type in name, we're going to take donor first name, then we're going to take donor family name. You see those being added there. I want to take the donor email. So if I search email, donor email, that's great. And then we're going to take some more fields about the donor. So donor address 1, address 2, address 3, donor county and country. Then we'll have donor postcode. We've got our GDPR opt-in to email. I'm going to add that as a field as well, so that we can store that in our CRM. Which is opt-in to email, which is a yes or no. They should all be coming through as yes, because we're filtering for yes in the first place. Next, we're going to find out a little bit more about the tribute page that this was actually taken from. So that is tributes, which is a URL. And then the actual tribute guardian, we're going to take some of their information as well into this report. So we'll take first name and family name and the email address as well. Now, the next one's a little bit unusual in that MuchLoved allows you to give tribute refs. So this reference now is our CRM ID for this example, DonorFlex ID. So we're going to take that in. Now, the actual value of this is a DonorFlex CRM ID. So I'm going to change the label of this field, so the column header, to DonorFlex ID, because I know that in the back end of MuchLoved, I've set that up to actually include the DonorFlex ID. And then when this uploads to my CRM, it will allow them to be linked to those people, to those donors. And then finally, just so we have this information attached to the donation, I want to also add the tributee. So we'll take the tributee first name and family name. Now, finally, what I want to add are a couple of rules. So I want to include the source. So we're going to have what we call a fixed field here. And I'm going to give this a label of source, and then I'm going to have the value as MuchLoved. And as we'll see in a moment, this will mean that every row has MuchLoved as the source, so the CRM can log that nice and neatly. And then I'm going to add another fixed field, which is fundraising category, and then that's going to be in mem. And then finally, the last column I want to add is an if rule. And so in this example, something that we've noticed is that in the donation description, people, if they've done an event and then contributed that money in memory of somebody, they've been creating Just Giving pages and events, and the money that's fundraised through that then gets donated via MuchLoved. And so that's an interesting piece of data for us. So we want to capture that in a column I'm going to call notes, because the CRM accepts that, and then the rule is going to be an if rule. And so what we're going to do is if donation description and then equals Just Giving, which is the pattern we've seen. So it has Just Giving in that donation description. We're going to have a fixed field, a fixed value, which is going to be MuchLoved via Just Giving. And then if it's false, so if that condition is not met, it will just be left blank and there won't be a note. So that's our mapping for this particular bridge. And these are all the columns we're expecting to see. So I'm going to save mapping. I'm going to call this MuchLoved donor details daily. And then it's a daily report of donations, including donor details from MuchLoved. And we're going to set a frequency. So I want to receive this, let's say at 1 a.m. every day. You can set that to weekly, monthly, or never if you only want to run it manually. But the typical thing would be to do it overnight, once a day. And what we can do is add email addresses if we want to. So send updates to colleagues to let them know that a new report is available. I'm not going to do that on this occasion. And then we can save our mapping. What we have now is this new bridge has been created and it will run at 1 a.m. every day. But for this demo, I'll go ahead and kick that off now and run the bridge. And then so what we're doing here is setting the dates. Because it's a manual bridge, we can choose the dates in which we are asking for data from. So I'll choose those dates, trigger that bridge. And if we go over to Let's Bridge, we can see that it's fetching the data and it will work its way through these steps. And what we see here now is the bridge has been run successfully. It's gone through all of the steps and it's complete. Now, because this is a demo, we've got dummy data for you, which is why the data process is 0, because it's in a sandbox account. I'm going to give you a sense here of what's actually happening. So this is the output spreadsheet, or the would-be output spreadsheet of that bridge. And so what you can see is that the columns that we created are being mapped out like this. Net donation is highlighted because we renamed that column, and the output will be net donation like this. Then you have all of the donor details that we put in place. You have GDPR opt-in to email are all yes. Now we filtered out the no's so they wouldn't appear. We only have people here for whom we could contact by email. And then we have the tribute information that we put in, the DonorFlex ID. Now this is pulled out of MuchLoved. We've renamed that column from Tribute Ref 1 to DonorFlex ID because that's what CRM is expecting. Then we have the source, which is the fixed field that we created. Then we have fundraising category, which we created and called everything in mem, and then notes. So one of the rows had a mention of Just Giving in the description. So we've got this tag as well, so we can have that for analytics. And then we have 2 columns that Bridgit adds for backtracking and debugging. So this is the spreadsheet that is now ready to be uploaded straight into your CRM without any more manual interaction with it. No renaming columns, reorganizing columns, or cleaning of data. You can do that all here. I've only demonstrated a couple of the rules that are possible in Bridgit in this demo, but there's loads more that you can do to streamline your data admin. And the final thing I'll just show you before I sign off is this is a sense of the original sheet that we have processed this data from and transformed with the bridge. So the first thing is that the list is shorter because we've only got people who opted into here by email, which is this column. So you can see there's a few yeses in here. So that's what we're firstly filtering for. And then obviously you have this wide spreadsheet with lots and lots of columns of lots of data that often you won't be needing. And so we're streamlining that so that you're only getting the data you need and it can go straight into your CRM. Thanks very much.